Hey everyone, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Are You Really Living? Today we've got an incredible guest who's about to take us on a wild ride. Straight out of the vibrant city of Caracas, Venezuela, let's give it up for the ultimate nature lover, Rafael Fonseca. Rafael's got a serious passion for camping and traveling. He's all about diving deep into nature and getting up close and personal with wildlife. Rafael's adventures are nothing short of epic. Tune in as he talks about his wildest escapades, shares his pro tips for exploring the great outdoors, and inspires you to unleash your inner adventurer. Get ready for some major wanderlust vibes with Rafael Fonseca. Let's get wild and dive into adventure. Let's welcome our host, Mr. Enrio Longchamp, and our guest, Rafael Fonseca.
Hello, listeners. Thank you again for coming to another episode of Are You Really Living? Today's guest is Mr. Rafael Fonseca. Mr. Rafael, how are you today?
I'm doing well. It's a nice day today in Miami.
Thank you for coming to the podcast. We have a lot to talk about. I met you recently. However, I believe you are a very fascinating individual.
Thank you.
And you have a very, your life is beautiful. So let's take it from the top.
Okay.
You've been to Coachella.
Yes.
How many times have you been to Coachella?
Only once. I only went last year. That was a spontaneous trip. I was going to go to Vegas. Issues what happened and had a group of friends going to LA. So they just told me to tag along.
For somebody that's never been to Coachella, what is it and what was your experience?
So it's a music and arts festival based out of Indio, California, which is out there in the little deserts on the other side of the mountains of LA. To many, it's like the premier top of the line festival offering all genres. That's honestly one of my favorite parts of it is that it's not like what we have here in Miami Ultra, where it's just the electronic music. You know, you're gonna have rock, you're gonna have country, you're gonna have folk, you're gonna have all nice varied rap too. I think Metro Boomin was closing one of the days when I was there this year. And that's what I like about it a lot. And one thing that really stuck out to me was that it's huge. It's huge. It's definitely the biggest festival I've ever been to. It's insane the amount of space they have, and they really use it to the most, and they got little nooks and little holes in the wall that you can find just walking around because they don't post it, so it's expecting you to try to discover as much of the festival as possible. So that's a really cool little aspect. Not a lot of festivals do that. Things like $2 waters, and then you can refill them. They're little aluminum things you can refill. I think it's a very customer focused festival, and they're actually not just trying to fill up a headline to sell as many tickets, but really to try to give the best experience possible to the individual going.
How many days did it spend on?
So I want to say, I can't remember now, it was 4 or 3 days, but it's over 2 weekends. Okay. And from my knowledge, both weekends usually have the same lineups. So it's usually what's offered first weekend is second weekend too. I went second weekend this year. It was very cool. A little disappointed because Frank Ocean only did first weekend this last year and didn't do the second weekend, so I missed out on that. But yeah, I think 3 days, 2 weekends.
Now, what's the difference between Coachella and the other one they usually have down here? What's the name of it again?
Ultra. So again, it's about mainly the music that's being played. Ultra is going to be only electronic music. Coachella, you're going to have that electronic music, but also every other genre you can think of. Anything that's somewhat popular in today's age.
But you've been to Ultra many times, correct?
I've been there, I want to say 3 or 4. I mean, being here from Miami, it's very normal to go and stuff like that. I've never liked it too much just because it's always seems very crowded, very packed. There's not enough water stations, so you're still waiting an hour to fill up your water before you can go see another artist. And it being only electronic music kind of always threw me off, just for the fact that that's not all I listen to. That's not all I want to listen to. So it's 3 days of just this almost. It becomes very repetitive, and the crowds are very, very, very. I don't know how to explain this, but lack of plur, which is something you see in electronic music festivals, the peace, love, unity, and respect. So it's you don't get a lot of that at Ultra. It's a lot of people that don't really listen to electronic music. They come down to Miami as normal tourists, and they're just ooh, this is a party, let's go. Which is, you don't really see that at a lot of other festivals. A lot of festivals people go for the music in a sense to actually celebrate that. Ultra, you see the opposite. It's not so much about who's actually playing. It's just, oh, this is the party, let's get drunk, or let's go find girls, let's go do this and that. And you can definitely tell that by the intentions and the energy these kind of people bring. You go to a Coachella, everyone's friendly with each other. Everyone's nice because at the end of the day, everyone everyone there is a fan of who's playing. So that kind of brings everyone together and it gives us a sense of ultra. You can't really say that, it's a lot of people coming in because it's spring break and they're just buying the ticket to go to something during that weekend.
So in other words, it's a different animal.
Yeah, no, it's a whole different thing. It's very aggressive crowd.
I know you're outdoor type of person.
Yeah.
So what sparked you in terms of, liking the outdoors, and what got you involved in it?
Well, I think it's quite a few different things. I was in the Boy Scouts as a little kid, Cub Scouts and then Boy Scouts. And also, obviously with that, out camping a lot, being a lot of camping, a lot of being wilderness and being pushed to that. And also, my aunt used to have a cattle ranch out in Venezuela in Los Llanos, right outside of Camawan, down a river, little thing like that. So very, very in the middle of nowhere. Like you're taking a boat that's taking all the supplies that you're going to need for the week and a half too, because there's no other option. And while we were out there, me and my little cousin, basically my little brother, we were raised together in the same house. We would go out in our horses and just like explore, just go see what was out for today. What was today's adventure? We're going to, yesterday we went like 30 minutes out north. Today we're going to go 2 hours south, and we're just going to see what we're going to see. And it was cool. It really, really and that really sparked a lot of my interest in animals and stuff like that. Cause, finding out I saw a river dolphin and we thought it was cool, whatever. Wow, look at it jumping around. That's so cool. And then to come back to the States, and I think I was reading a zoology program at the time, and this guy was talking about all the different dolphins and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I've seen that. And he was like, no, not in pictures. I'm like, no, dude, I saw that. We saw those jumping next to us. That was it. And it was that's crazy. That's not something that's very rare. And I was like, wow, it really shined a light on me on how transformative being out there was, and to actually show appreciation to those little things. To me, it was whatever. I'm going out to the ranch. We're gonna ride around horses, look at birds and stuff like that. And it just showed wow, there's actually a lot of things going on in this world that not everyone gets to see, but you'll only see them experience if you're there.
Would you want your kids to experience those type of experience or see what you saw growing up?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if I ever do have kids one day, I want to push them to be in the Scouts as much as possible, Girl or Boy Scouts, something like that, to be in camping. And because there's a lot of especially here in Florida, there's a lot of natural beauty that people don't really take in, because to them it's oh, swamps, I don't want to hang out with the mosquitoes. But then you're oh, dude, if you go in the winter, it's not as bad, and you're missing out on these incredible animal experiences where we don't know how long that's going to be an option, especially here in Florida where everything's flooding. Who knows if there's going to be manatees in the bay in 10 years.
Venture out outside or be more involved outside. What would you tell them? Would you tell them to start?
I think your local parks, and it's a little thing you'll notice, if you start going to the parks a lot more, and just your local ones, not even your big national parks or your big state parks, your little municipality park, you'll start for me, what really got me, I was at older age, was all the different birds, and you start hearing it, you're wow, that chirp sounds different from that one, and that kind of becomes a little game for yourself, Pokemon Go, where you're that I've never heard that one before, where is it, where in the tree is this? And you start seeing how wow, there's really a whole other world that's not just consumed by our human world. There's other animals that aren't just our pets, just living their lives and being free. And so you'll start catching on to that, and you'll notice, and it'll bring you in because you'll be interested. I haven't seen that. Oh my God, look at that little bird. Oh my God, wow, that's having such a great time. And then after a bit of a couple walks, couple hikes around your parks, I recommend go camping. Go up to your national parks and pick out some camping. Maybe glamping, pick a cabin at first. Little baby steps. You don't want to go all full primitive where you're in a hammock, posted out in the middle of nowhere, because even there, that's a very rough experience. That's you have to really love it to be able to enjoy that. But a simple little cabin where you get to go walk around, take a couple trails, and then you come back and get to decompress and trying to understand what happened. I think anyone will really love that.
I believe one of the things you do when it comes to outdoor is you go to the shooting range or you go shooting. Recently, the Supreme Court made a ruling when it comes to bump stocks. For people that are listening that first, they don't know what bump stocks are or their purposes, what would you tell them they are? And did the Supreme Court make the right decision, in your opinion?
So from my understanding, bump stocks are basically a way to cheat the automatic ban, the automatic arms ban, so that you can still have a semi, but at the end of the day, the recoil is helping you shoot more, from my understanding. And I think that's Do I think they did the right idea? I don't. I think America is very lacking in that sense, where we kind of separate what is our right and what is infringing on someone else's rights. Because, as much as I have a right to bear arms, other people have a right to stay alive, And just because, and that's the thing here, like we start saying like, oh, it's rights, it's our rights and stuff like that. I think you get lost in it because it's like, you can still make it our right and just make sure that it's not so easily accessible. I shouldn't be able to go to Walmart and buy a bump stock, That shouldn't be an option. I shouldn't just be able to like, oh my God, yeah, today I really want to shoot fast. Well, why do I want to shoot fast? Where is that desire coming from? Because if I'm going hunting, bump stock is the opposite of what you want to do. So at the end of the day, whatever you kill with the bump stock, you're probably filling it up with bullets and you're ruining the meat. So off the rip, what's the point of that? Second, if you're using it at a shooting range, which awesome, I think that's amazing, but you shouldn't be able to take that same weapon that's meant for war and take it out of the situation it's for. Because again, yeah, for war, it's also meant for training for war. And that's what a shooting range is. It's training for war. I shouldn't be able to train in a public area. That doesn't make sense to me. The same way I shouldn't be able to walk around with a paintball gun and blasting everyone in my neighborhood. That's not, yeah, I won't kill anyone. I shouldn't be able to do that. And there would be problems with that. I don't think it's a good thing because I think it's giving a lot of liberty to people who love to try to find these loopholes and be able to do these mass massacres.
The other day I was talking to you about situation with the lawsuit with Kanye, Yeezy, or Adidas, I believe.
Adidas, yeah.
So for somebody who's not up to date with what's going on, what can you tell them about that situation?
So from my understanding of it, it goes down to like intellectual property laws, and these are Kanye's designs, and Adidas is still selling them after terminating their contract with him. Okay. So he's not getting paid for their sales. What's kind of crazy to me, I mean, I'm not a very big fan of intellectual property laws. I think that's a huge step back in human development. I mean, it's the reason why insulin can't beat for everyone, So it's like, yeah, it sucks that he did this work and now they're profiting off it. But at the end of the day, my personal idea is like, dude, you made your money. You made your millions. Now you're just being greedy. But it's also them being greedy and not wanting to like, because they could just change their little designs a little bit like 50 million other brands have done already, especially with Kanye's Yeezy design. You go to Walmart, you'll find them. Kanye is definitely not selling Yeezys at Walmart, but you'll find slides that look just like his. And so it's like those type of people who go around the intellectual property laws, and I feel like Adidas did it in a bad way where they could have honestly just gone the other way around and been like, oh, I'm not really using his designs, but they decided not to and just be like, haha, sucks to suck, dude, we have more resources than you, which is in itself, I'm like, damn, pay the man, like, or at least pay your own guys to change the designs a little bit, like, it's not gonna hurt the bottom line that much, man.
You are, I believe, are you Marvel or DC type of guy?
Honestly, it varies. Of course, Marvel is GOAT today. That's king. And I loved X-Men and Spider-Man growing up. But in all honesty, the cooler superheroes are still going to always be Batman and Superman. Like, that's always going to be the most awesome ones. Like, you have the omni-powerful Superman who can just do anything and do no wrong and is just number one. Then you got Batman, who's the smartest man ever to exist and is like, it's hilarious because he doesn't kill anyone, but like, he's still kicking ass like crazy and destroying these superheroes. So I don't know, like, yeah, I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Do I think they messed up in recent years? A little bit. It fell off a little bit. Wanda was really awesome and Loki was really cool, but the rest of it, like, I was kind of like lost, like, what is going on here? But then again, DC, what have they been doing for the last like 20 years? Like, it's like reboot after like reboot and just like no continuity. It all is a mash.
I believe that DC, when it comes to cartoon, that's top of the line. That's their bread and butter.
Oh yeah.
But Marvel really capture when it comes to movies. That's like they got that hack. In DC, I think they're still trying to figure out how to make a good movie. To me, Flash that just came out, oh my god, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
That's what's always going to happen when you do time travel stuff. It's always going to be weird, man.
Not even that. It's just the whole concept, like everything put together was just bad overall, in my opinion.
Yeah.
From Flash, from...
what's his name?
Shazam.
God.
Shazam was bad, but the one with The Rock was it Black Adam?
Black Adam.
That one was bad too.
I guess, I didn't even remember the name.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think again, DC, they are still figuring out when it comes to the movies, but Marvel got the movies. But when it comes to cartoon, hands down DC.
I mean, what is it? Batman Begins is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like, what is the future one? The 2000 where he's like in the 2000s.
Batman
Beyond.
I could watch that all day.
Oh God, that I grew up on that. Yeah. But then even there, Marvel's catching up on that sense because look at X-Men 97. Like, they're really dumb. And again, they tried to kill X-Men for so long. They tried so bad to bury X-Men, but at the end of the day, like, they made a great show out of it. So I think that kind of stuff, it's like, Again, IP laws. It's so ridiculous. Let the people just do whatever they want with it, man.
Now,
Fan fiction ends up being better half the time.
Exactly. Now, who would you want to see in a good fight? Like Superman, like if they were to be crossing those two universes, Marvel and DC were to be crossed, who would you want to see a good fight?
The two I would love to see, and I think it'd be the most awesome, would be like a Spider-Man Wolverine. I think that's something that like they could really like, because I think it's kind of balanced, and they both have extremely credible reactions, animalistic to say. Like the quirkiness of Spider-Man, you know, it's kind of like Deadpool.
Yeah,
would work great with Wolverine's like seriousness and just constant anger. You know, at the end of the day, what's stronger, the Spider-Man web or the Antimanium claws?
Yeah.
Like, is he gonna be able to cut the spider webs like nothing? I don't know. I think that's something that I would see that'd be intense.
That would be a good fight if it's done properly.
Yeah.
But would you want to see it in a cartoon or a movie? I probably want me personally. I want to see it in a cartoon first.
Yeah. I'm always very like, just because what made me fall in love with Spider-Man the most was first the live actions with Tobey Maguire. So
that was a good one.
I mean, yeah, I was a little kid. I was like in first and second grade. So it's like, that's what really like captivated me to like superhero movies. And like drawn ones have always seemed like, at the end of the day, animes are better. They have better at fight scenes and stuff like that. And whenever you see like animated from this side, fight scenes are always kind of basic. It's never really see much, you know. Can't compare like Naruto fight scenes to even Batman Beyond fight scenes. Like that's not their strength. So I don't know. I definitely want to see a live action one of that one. And plus, what's his name? He's coming out. Wolverine.
Deadpool.
No. But the actor, Hugh Jackman is just such a great Wolverine.
Yeah, he played it very well.
I think he's been amazing that. So I think I would want to see another one, just one more of him doing that. Spider-Man, I could care less which one does it. Like at the end of the day, I mean, Tom Holland's cool, but I don't think he's my favorite Spider-Man so far. So, but I do like what Marvel's doing with his character. I do like that way. I mean, maybe a Miles Morales versus Hugh Jackman would be fire.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
So it'd be definitely split into two. You know, something like a Dr. X, Professor X. You know, with telekinesis and all that, mind control and seeing all that. That's like really awesome. Especially like with Cerebrum, like the whole thing where you just see everyone in the whole world at once. Or teleportation. Just because I'm an adult now and I commute, and that sucks.
You don't like the traffic in Miami. That's definitely
driving used to be the most amazing thing in the world until I had to do it every day for 40 minutes. Like,
oh my Lord. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But especially down here in Miami, I feel like they're creating the traffic with the express lane, because you're shrinking the highway to do the express lane. It's not like you're expanding it, and it's the same amount of car or even not more car on it.
Yeah,
but that's another story.
I mean, what is it? Induced demand.
Exactly.
Like,
so
dumb.
That's just me, man. That's just me.
Nah, that's just science, man. That's been proven. Like, well, I guess it's still a theory. Induced demand is still a theory because that's something you can't really prove, but it's always the same thing.
It is. You were stranded island and you only had choices for 2 items, coffee or tea. What would you go with?
Oh, I'd definitely go coffee. That's not even a question.
Yeah, I knew the answer to that.
Yeah.
Still wanted to ask. Why do you like coffee so much?
Something I've always drank is like growing up, and my family in Venezuela, my grandfather used to manage a very big coffee company over there. And so as a kid, like it was very, very commonplace. Like the last meal of the day would be a coffee and milk. Of course, very, very light with a sandwich. And that was like a nice, like collective way we all would like wrap up our day. And it's always been such a staple from like, especially here in Miami, the little windows, la ventanitas, like that's such a big cultural aspect for me. Like coffee just seems to like so many boxes in my life, and plus it's amazing. Like it tastes so good. Like coffee ice cream is my favorite.
Coffee and ice cream.
Coffee and ice cream is amazing too.
This just came out in my head really quickly. I wanted to ask you, because we're running out of time. Has it been hard to date in South Florida for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's terrible. Like it's constantly like, but it's also, you know, in my personal experience, it matters a lot where you're meeting people. So it's like, the thing about South Florida is we're a very big club culture. You know, as little kids, everyone has like a fake ID going to actual big good old club. And that's such a normal thing, like going, get the table, do all the things. And so that ends up being like a major way to meet people. But it's also, you know, you're meeting people in the mindset of a club. club. So it's not, in my personal experience, that's never been great. The best I've had would be like people I've met in other organizations, like in ISIC and stuff like that, you know, and things where it wasn't technically stuck to clubbing. Even music festivals are significantly better. But again, what do we have here? Ultra, which is just basically a giant club for like spring breakers to wild out. But yeah, no, it is terrible here. I think it's, as I've gotten older, I've noticed more and more, I guess because I see more red flags off the rip, and I'm just like, oh wow, like God, people really think like this. Like, and at the end of the day, it's like there's a mindset here in Miami where it's like, you know, if you're not able to get the table, if you're not able to like drive the BMW, the Audi, if you're not making 150,000 a year, it's kind of like, then what are you? And it's like, no, man, there's more to people than that. And it's like, I don't know, I think it's a big aspect of like also being what's the word for it? Like hookup culture being so tied with like that club culture and all that, where it's no one's really wanting to date, no one really wants to commit, because at the end of the day, who you met this week might not even compare who you meet at the club next week or something like that. And it's always a constant like struggle in that sense. And trying to settle down here is not a great days.
What's the biggest red flag you experienced in the dating scene?
Hard to say biggest, but I guess like when she knows the promoters, you know, if she's like, when she knows the security guards, knows who's like the guest list people and all that, it's always like, wow, like how often are you out here? Like, that's crazy. Like, how did you know these people? And that's always like a big one. Not always bad, but it's always like kind of like, you know, why are you out so much? What are you hiding from? Like, you know, a lot of people tend to have those kind of problems where it's like they're all actually just partying constantly, trying to forget about something else or not deal with something else. So it's kind of like, oh, why are you out so much? Like, oh, you don't make music, but you're always at the club. Why does the promoter know you? You don't make music. You don't play. Oh, because you're a body. Got it. Like, ugh. I mean, that's always like, that's always one that I'm like, when I see it on the follows, I'm like, why do they follow you? I'm like, what do you do? And then I'm like, oh, you're just a party girl, aren't you? Cool.
All right. Well, with that being said, I would like to thank you for stopping by the podcast. Are You Really Living? And you're truly living. You know, you're truly living. Your experience are phenomenal, and there are many other things that we didn't get a chance to dive into. So we'll talk about them in the next episode.
That sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And that, dear listeners, wraps up another exhilarating episode of Are You Really Living? We hope you were inspired and learned something new. Remember, life is not just about surviving, it's about truly living, embracing every moment with passion, purpose, and curiosity. Stay curious, stay bold, and most importantly, stay truly alive. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep living your most extraordinary life. If you haven't, please subscribe, like, and share this episode with everyone. Finally, dream big, live boldly, and always ask yourself, are you really living?